I found a birth certificate hidden inside my mom's safe, and the name on it was mine, but everything else was wrong. I was 24 years old and helping my parents organise paperwork after a pipe burst in their basement. My mom asked me to grab insurance documents from her bedroom closed, and for the first time in my life she gave me the combination to her safe. I found the insurance papers immediately, but underneath was a sealed envelope labelled Donut Topen. My curiosity got the better of me, and I pulled it out. Inside was a birth certificate. My name was printed across the top, but the date was different. The hospital was different. Event the woman listed as my mother was someone I had never heard of. My heart started pounding because according to the document, I was born nearly 300 miles away from where my parents always said I was born. I shoved everything back into the envelope and spent the entire night staring at the ceiling, wondering what I had just found. My parents had been married for 30 years and I was their only child. We lived in a small town in Ohio and I always thought we were a normal family. My mom worked as a teacher, my dad owned an auto repair shop. They were loving, supportive and involved in every part of my life. But looking back, there were strange things he never questioned. There were almost no photos of my mom pregnant. She always changed the subject whenever I asked about the day I was born. And every time relatives talked about family history, they seemed careful about what they said. Around midnight, I requested a copy of my official birth certificate online. A week later it arrived and matched the document from the safe exactly. The woman listed as my mother wasn't my mom. If I drove to my parents' house that evening and placed both certificates on the kitchen table, these come my mother saw them, she started crying. My father looked completely defeated. I asked one question, who is this woman? Nobody answered for nearly a minute. Then my dad quietly said, she's your biological mother. My entire world stopped. Apparently my parents had adopted me when I was only 3 days old. My biological mother was 17 and struggling with addiction. She signed adoption papers before leaving the hospital and disappeared. Show. Artily afterward, my parents desperately wanted children, but after years of failed fertility treatments, they were told it would never happen. Then they received a call about a newborn baby who needed a family. Me asked why they lied my entire life. My mother broke down and admitted they planned to tell me when I was older. But every year they became more afraid. They worried I would feel abandoned. They worried I would search for another family. They worried they would somehow lose me. So the truth stayed hidden. It thought that was the entire story. Then my father opened the safe and pulled out another envelope. Inside were dozens of letters. Every single one was addressed to me. The first was dated when I was 5. The last had arrived only 6 months earlier. My biological mother had been writing to me for nearly 20 years. My hand started shaking as I opened the most recent letter. It said, I know I have no right to ask for anything, but I think about you every day. And I hope you know, giving you up was the hardest thing I have ever done. I looked at my parents in disbelief. They admitted they intercepted every letter because they feared I would contact them. My mother revealed something that changed everything. Earlier, my biological mother had gotten clean after almost 2 decades of addiction. She had a stable job, a home and a family of her own. She was not looking for money or custody. She only wanted to know if I was happy. For the first time in my life, I felt angry at parents, not they adopted me, but because they took away my choice. My biological mother missed 24 years of my life and missed 24 years of answers. A month later, I met her for the first time. West thou stalking a la. Endy crying, she showed me baby photos, her spittle bracelets, and a scrapbook she had kept since the day I was born. When I got home, my parents were waiting nervously at the kitchen table. I sat down them and told them something they both needed to hear. I said, you will always be my parents, but the truth should have been mine to choose. My mother started crying and apologised for everything. Then she handed me the safe key and said, no more secrets. And as I looked at that tiny piece of metal in my hand, I realised the second birth certificate had not revealed who my family was. It revealed how much fear can make people hide the people they love the most. What would you do if you found a second birth certificate with your name on it hidden away?